And as always, I'm going to start with a question. And the question today is, what do you get when the US dollar is stuck near 4-month lows? The yen is moving like someone yelled intervention, and crypto is trying to wake up cautiously. Well, I'll tell you. You get a market that's basically saying, please don't make me react to another headline today. I'm still recovering from last week. With that being said, good morning, everyone. My name is Francois. I'm your market analyst here at ATFX Africa, and welcome to your daily market brief. Today, we are going to have a look at some currencies, some cryptocurrencies, some indices, and anything you want me to look at as well. And well, today the big theme is tying it all together is policy uncertainty. Okay. The Fed meeting starts today. We'll get an outcome tomorrow. So the dollar is still on the back foot. And markets are watching everything from shutdown risk to intervention chatter like it's a live World Cup scoreboard. With that said, let's kick things off today with our first currency, which is USD JPY. So USD JPY is trading near 154 yen per dollar after the yen rallied as much as 3.2% over the prior two sessions. Now, this was driven by heightened concern about a potential joint forex intervention by Tokyo and Washington. The move was sparked by reports that the New York Fed conducted a rate check with dealers on Friday, and Japanese officials indicated they're in close coordination with the US on currency policy and potential interventions. At the same time, broader dollar weakness has been a major tailwind for the yen. Now, the dollar index has been hovering around 97, which is near its weakest level in over 4 months as the Fed's two-day policy meeting begins. Now, the Fed is widely expected to hold rates, but markets remain focused on questions around political pressure and the growing speculation that a new Fed chair could be announced this week, with the US president likely to nominate a more dovish candidate. And on top of that, the dollar is also facing pressure from government shutdown concerns. I can't believe we are back here. We just recovered from the last government shutdown. Now we are heading towards the next one. Well, potential one. And these concerns come after Democratic leaders threatened to block a $1.2 trillion funding package if it includes additional homeland security allocations. So in essence, it's a messy mix. Intervention fears supporting the yen, Fed uncertainty weighing on the dollar, shutdown risk adding another layer of caution, which is creating a lot of fun for us. So with that being said, let's have a quick look at the charts and have a look at, well, what potential opportunities are awaiting us here. So as stated, USD JPY is trading above 104 yen per dollar. More specifically, 154.7. And it is what has showed resilience above the 100-day EMA. So if I pop this onto a daily time frame, the 100-day EMA is currently sitting around 154.1. You can see it around there, which also kind of lines up with that 38% Fibonacci extension or Fibonacci retracement level. Okay, so that is definitely giving us some nice opportunities within the market today. Now, the stochastic at the moment is under 25, which is oversold territory, but it has also given us a golden cross. Now, as you all know, this is an indication that bearish momentum is fading and there are chances for some reversal options. So, what type of reversal options do we have the potential for? Now, again, we can see here that it is closing much higher and it's pushing up. So let's go to a lower time frame. Let's show here on about a 30-minute time frame. Again, here we can see that rising wedge pattern forming there. So definitely um, good structure. We can see here we had that change of character, we had the retest, we had the break of structure. So in essence, here is some good price action for a move higher. Now, again, I would take into consideration this spike lower that we have seen and basically aim to get back to around this 61, maybe that 78 if you really want to push it. But I'll be perfectly happy here if this can just get a retracement back to that 61. And obviously, then we can see how price action reacts from there with, potential risk putting it just below these lower points, which is giving us a potential here for around a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio on this one. Now, if you are pushing it to that 78, you extend that risk to reward to around 2.2. Okay. Again, just having a look at what price action is showing us at the moment. Now, in the event that, so speaking about price action now, obviously, as I said, that you can see this rising wedge pattern that is forming here. So a rising wedge pattern technically most of the time, again, it's not 100% accurate, but most of the time is a selling pattern. So on a shorter time frame, if there is a break lower, and again, if we break then below this 154.1, that will obviously mean we break below the 100 EMA, and that would kind of trigger a larger sell-off, which then could potentially push USD JPY down to this 152.5 region even. So yeah, two options here on this currency pair, showcasing some nice intraday moves potentially. Um, on the price action side, it's just basically you now waiting to see does it break higher or does it break lower, and then reacting appropriately. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Everyone's so quiet today. We've got quite a few people here, but very quiet. Robert, it's unlike you. Juliet, you as well. You normally interact a little bit more. So yes, what do you guys think? What's your opinion? Do you agree with what I stated? Do you have a different opinion? Again, the entire reason for the live market brief is so that we can have a certain amount of interaction. If you have questions, you can ask. If you have comments, you can ask, and we can debate market conditions. However, if there is no debate, let's move over to our cryptocurrency for the day, which is Ethereum. Now, interesting enough, Ethereum is trading around $2,940 at the moment, which is slightly higher on the session. Now, the broader crypto backdrop points to markets navigating macro uncertainty and political risk. Specifically, growing government shutdown fears is definitely a big thing for crypto. So Bitcoin and Ethereum have been edging higher, with Ethereum now holding above $2,900, while traders are relatively mulling over a potential move above $3,000, which is obviously a large psychological level. So fundamentally, Ethereum is caught between cautious optimism, which is obviously the price edging higher, and then macro uncertainty, which is the shutdown risk and broader risk sensitivity. Now, when we look at the chart, and I'm going to start here on a slightly higher time frame. So here we are on the sorry, there we go. Okay, so here we are on the 4-hour chart, and we can obviously see it bounced off this previous low that we had on the 19th of December, and markets have kind of just moved higher from there onwards. So I just want to move something here real quick. There we go. Yeah. So markets have moved higher. It has broken back above this short-term EMA, which is our 21 EMA. And we can see momentum is relatively pushing higher at this specific point in stage. Now, key resistance is obviously sitting here at 3,100, which we can obviously see was this previous very large support from of where it bounced and went higher from there on forward. So until 3,100, in my opinion, is broken, I don't foresee larger upward momentum. Okay. However, if we have a look at some smaller time frames, we do have this relative trend that is sitting here, and it tried breaking higher but didn't quite get there. So in essence, on the 30-minute time frame, for me, I would kind of have a look at the following two potential setups for today and having a look at how markets react in both ways. Okay. So, number one is obviously if markets try and going to test that 3,000 level, which would require a break above around this 2,960 level. And that could not just potentially go for 3,000 level, it could even go up to 3,100 and go and test that. That would obviously give you, even if you put your stops around here somewhere, and we're aiming for, let's say, 100, you're looking at a potential almost 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. Now, on the downside, again, this break here, if it closes around here, would give us the change of character, because the fact that we can see here this general trend is now changing. So a slight break lower will give a change of character. Then we just need a little bit of a retest with a break of structure, which then opens up the opportunity, I would say, around, yeah, 2,890, which gives you a little bit of a short position option. I would just say back to this low point that we saw on Sunday, which again gives you then around a 1 to 1.5, 1.4 risk to reward ratio on this one. On a larger time frame as well, obviously, if that breaks the, I would say, larger sentiment change, because we can see there's been a relative amount of consolidation since November between this 3,400 and 2,700 level. So we've kind of been trading within this, where if it breaks above 3.1, there's definitely an opportunity for a retest of that 3,400 level. But if we break below 2.7, that would kind of solidify that bears are in control of this market at the moment and could lead to a deeper correction within cryptocurrencies. Okay, I have some comments. Let me read that. So, first things first. Morning, I agree with your analysis on USDJPY. Thank you so much for that. Sorry. I'm out and about with my wife, so looking at the session on the side. I like that. That actually makes me feel so great. Like even when people are out, uh, you're still not missing the session. So that makes me feel amazing about the specific session. So thank you for that. Completely agree with the Ethereum analysis as well. Beautiful. Love it. Thank you so much. And that obviously means, well, let's first close off Ethereum. Okay. Because, well, as we can see from the technical analysis, Ethereum looks like it is trying to regain composure. But it's still in that I'm fine phase. Okay. It hasn't really fully recovered. So this is where the chart only truly convinces people if it can reclaim and hold above that key resistance zone. Okay. So before we really break some key levels, I wouldn't expect fireworks from this crypto yet. but it does provide us with some nice intraday opportunities trading within that range that it is currently sitting in. So, with that said, let's move our focus to our final asset for today or instrument for today. If there's anything else you want me to look at, please let me know. But I'm going to finish things off otherwise with indices and more specifically US 30, which is coming into today after a strong session yesterday. Okay. The Dow Jones gained around 320 points yesterday, which was up around 0.7% and closed around 49,400. Now, again, we have to understand broader context here and a lot of the things that we have spoken about up until this point, markets balancing political uncertainty, earning week that is currently going, the Fed decision that's coming up tomorrow. So that meeting that started today, uh, this has all created a lot of movement within the market. Now, US equities obviously started the week on a positive note, supporting by earnings tone and positioning into the Fed. Now, political risk remains present, obviously, with that renewed tariff threat tied to Canada and China, which was mentioned. And shutdown concerns are part of the wider uncertainty backdrop as well, plus ongoing tensions around fiscal and policy pressure tactics from democratic parties. And there's also obviously notable sector specific risk. Now, Dow Jones futures slipped at one point after a proposal to set near flat payment rates for Medicare Advantage plans, which is hitting major insurers. And this happened after hours, after the US session closed yesterday. So the US 30 story is less everything is perfect and more earnings and optimism are helping, if that makes sense. Okay. But policy uncertainty is acting like a constant background notification that you just can't swipe away. Now, if we do have a look at the charts, the Dow is currently trading around 49,365. The index is still currently trading within that ascending channel that you can see on your screen at the moment as well. And we've got key resistance, which is currently sitting near that all-time high, which is at 49,700, with support sitting quite firm at that 48,400 level. Now, for the last month, this index has traded in a relatively tight range, which has given us great opportunities intraday trading inside this actual range. Now, for today as well, if we're looking at lower time frames, I'm on a 15 minute. If we get break of structure above this 49,400 level, that could open up the potential for an opportunity higher. You could have relatively tight stops on this, giving you about a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, just aiming for those high points at 49,600. On the downside, I would wait for a larger correction. So that would require a break below this 49,100 level. If that level gives way, we can aim potentially for the bottom of the channel, which is this low point that we had on Friday, which is sitting around 48,760 or even all the way down to 48,600. So again, a lot of potential possibilities in that regard, but just having to patiently wait for price action to provide guidance. Okay. Now, how we might frame today is in the following way, in my opinion. So, if US 30 continues holding firm while the Fed meeting is underway, it reinforces that idea that markets are leaning towards no surprise from policy. But if the tone changes, we can get rapid repricing because the market is already primed to react to guidance. Okay, so just kind of monitor the price action on this. As I said, slight break higher would give us the opportunity to go and retest those highs. If we break back below 49,100, that opens up the potential possibility to come and retest those lower points within that ascending channel as well. Hi, I'm new to this platform, so which options can I use to trade? Um, it's a relatively broad question, but I'm going to do my best to answer. Let me pop my larger camera back on. So, obviously, at ATFX, you have the potential to trade, well, relatively anything you want. So, hence why, for instance, during the market brief, we discuss a range of assets. If there's something specific that you like trading, I know, for instance, some of the people on here, like Robert, really likes trading Ethereum. Hence why we normally cover that quite often. Everyone likes trading gold, so we normally cover that as well. So again, there are a range of options available to you as a trader. You can trade anything from, as I said, cryptos to indices such as the US30 that we spoke about now, gold, because of the fact that ATFX is a multi-asset broker. So again, it opens up those opportunities for you. Now, the reason for the market brief is it gives me the opportunity to assist you with what is going on in the market, provide some guidance, provide some clarity so that you understand why the market is moving in the way it does. And again, so that you can position yourself on the right side of what is currently going on. Okay. Nkululeko, I hope that answers your question. Um, if it doesn't, let me know and I'll try again. Great. Uh, so traders, as we are heading into today and tomorrow's finalization of today's the Fed meeting that's kicking off today, the question we need to ask ourselves is, will the Fed deliver a message that keeps the dollar pinned down near these lows where it is at the moment, or does the guidance change the mood? Now, if that mood changes, this will obviously affect the current rally that we are seeing on gold. It will affect a lot of the price movements that we are seeing on currency pairs like Euro USD and USD JPY and so forth. Speaking of USD JPY, definitely keep an eye on the two big headline switches. So, specifically, intervention chatter that can turn, as you saw. I mean, just looking at price action on USD JPY this week, it can turn literally normal candles into surprise sprints. But then also keep an eye on Ethereum. Does it keep hovering above 2,900 and break higher so we can go and test that 3,000 to 3,100 level? Or does the market's risk change and pull it back towards that 2,800 line, if that makes sense? So, because in essence, right now, the market isn't just trading levels, it's trading uncertainty. And uncertainty loves to move the goalposts when we're not looking. So please be vigilant in the markets at the moment and position yourself accordingly so that you can capitalize on every move possible. Okay. Cool. Robert says, will do. Thank you so much, Franco. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Only a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much. Traders, with that being said, that kind of wraps up our daily market brief for today, brought to you by ATFX Africa, the broker that gives you an edge in today's markets. Now, if you are not trading with ATFX yet, simply head over to atfx.com and go and experience the difference for yourself. Traders, until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and trade smart.